This is Miss Sarah from the Paul I Club. Welcome to our virtual Boys and Girls Club lesson for today. We're going to be doing some cooking. Cooking is a great way to practice a lot of different skills. You can practice math because you have to do the measuring. You can practice reading and critical thinking and creativity. So today we're going to be making ramen, but not just normal ramen. We're going to be adding some different ingredients and really making it an exciting thing. So my challenge to you is if you have ramen at home, try making it in a different way than you normally do. Today we're making it in 3 different ways, and I'll explain as we go through what we're going to do. But follow along and let us know what you think and let us know what you want to try putting in ramen. When I'm cooking, the first thing I like to do is to get out all my ingredients to make sure I'm not forgetting anything and not missing anything. One thing that you hear a lot in cooking is something called mise en place, which means when you're getting ready to cook that you have all your ingredients ready and measured. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out my ingredients. I'm going to cook the chicken so we can put it in at the end, and then I'll come back and show you how we're going to make the ramen. Okay, so I've cooked the chicken, and then I have half of it shredded and half of it cubed. We'll use that later, so I'll set that off to the side. I also have some water going. I'm making 3 different types of ramen for me and my 2 roommates. So we will have 3 different pots going, but you can just make one kind if you want. And then I also have a pot back here because I'm going to scramble some eggs. So I was talking with Miss Taylor and Miss Brenda from the Paul I Boys and Girls Club, and we realized that we each make ramen differently. And that's something that's really cool about cooking is you can take the same ingredients and make completely different things. So what we're going to show today is 3 different kinds of ramen that you can make. Once your water is boiling, this one's there, these 2 are almost there. What you're going to do is you're going to put your pasta in, and it's going to cook for 3 minutes. So I'm going to take my timer, I'm going to reset it for 3 minutes, and then as soon as the water's ready, I'm going to get that going. I also have 1 egg here that I'm going to use for the soup ramen I'm making, so I'm going to set that to the side because that's at the end. And then I have 2 eggs here that what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some scrambled eggs. And so I'm going to make those eggs at the same time that I'm making the ramen. So I like to put in my scrambled eggs some milk. So I will grab some milk. I think it makes it a little creamy. So I have 2 eggs there. Add a little bit of milk, and then I'm going to mix that up. It's hard to do one-handed. And I don't have that burner on yet, so I'm going to turn that one on. It's this back one here. Turn that on low. So our water looks like it's about ready. So what I'm going to do is I have 3 different ramen packets. I'm going to put them in each. And these instructions for the ramen are on the back of the ramen bags. So I'm just going to put the ramen. I've already taken out the flavor packets. So it's just the noodles going in. One there. This last pot's a little small for the ramen, but we'll make it work. There we go. I'll almost push that down in a second. So we started the ramen, so I'm going to start my timer. I'm going to get a spoon. Okay, so our 3-minute timer's gone up. I didn't let you guys just watch the water boil for 3 minutes, but that's what happened. We cooked all 3 ramens. I left the water in one of them, and I drained the water out of the other 2 with a strainer in my sink. While that was cooking, I made some scrambled eggs, and we'll get back to that in a second. So for the first one, the one that still has the water in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make something that's kind of like an egg drop soup. So I'm going to take the hot ramen, and I have an egg that I put just cracked in the bowl because I don't want to crack an egg directly into what I'm making because you might get shells in it. So I have the egg, and the water's hot. I'm just going to drop it directly in where my ramen is. And then I'm going to take a clean spoon, and I'm just going to stir it. And you're going to see that the water is going to turn white because that's the egg white that's cooking in there. So I'm going to stir it up. It's going to start cooking because you don't want to eat raw egg, but what's happening is the water is still really hot because it just finished boiling. So the hot water is going to cook the egg. You can see the white there from the egg. And the reason I'm doing this is because I have eggs in my kitchen. It's a way of adding something extra, but eggs have protein, and protein's really good for you. So I'm going to add that in. Then for this one, Usually I'll add like green onions if I have them. I don't have them right now, but you can add different vegetables to it. I happen to have in my kitchen something called sesame oil. So I'm going to use that. It gives it a different flavor. So I'm going to add a little bit of that. And I'm also going to add the spice packet that came with the ramen. Grab a pair of scissors because it's hard to open a spice packet one-handed. It's tricky. So usually you're going to want to use two hands. It'll make it a lot easier. Okay, so you're going to dump the sauce packet right in there. You're going to mix it up. That smells really good. So in this one, I have the regular ramen. I have an egg that I dropped in while the water was still hot to cook it. And then I added a little bit of sesame oil if you have it. It's not a big deal if you don't. Added the spice packet. And then I have some sesame seeds. I'm going to add them on top because I think it adds a little crunch. And you're just trying to make the ramen interesting. So you can do, like I said, you can add whatever you want. If there's something you think might taste good, go ahead and try it. For our second type of ramen, we've made the noodles, we've drained them. We're going to take a little bit of butter and we're going to let that melt with the noodles. And we are also going to add our spice packet that came with it. So we're going to add those all together. We're going to mix it up really well. Okay, so we have mixed together the spice and the butter. I'm going to take some cubed chicken, which is in my little white caps baseball cap bowl. I'm going to add that. I'm also going to add a little bit of hot sauce or salsa or whatever you have that you want to give it a little more flavor. And then I'm going to mix that all together. So this is a great way if you have some chicken. You can do already made chicken. You can make it you can cook it yourself. Whatever works best for you. But there you go. It has a lot of flavor. It has some protein in the chicken, and you're good to go. So let's move on now to our third and final type of ramen. For this one, I'm going to add the scrambled eggs that I made earlier. So I'm going to add some of our scrambled eggs into our pasta. This pasta, I also drained the water out like I did with the second kind. So we're going to add our eggs in. I'm also going to add, again, make sure you keep washing your hands. I just washed my hands right before this part. I'm going to add in some shredded chicken. And then I also want to add in, so I have protein there with the chicken and the egg. I want to add in some corn just to give some extra vegetables. So I'm going to add some corn in. So I'm going to mix that all up and I will be right back. So I've mixed up those ingredients. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in our spice packet. Oh, that's the old one. I'm going to add in our spice packet. And I'm going to add some ranch dressing. Now I'll mix that all up and I'll be right back. And there you go. That's 3 different types of ramen. And like I said, you can add anything you want. You can add any type of protein like eggs, chicken, anything else. You can add vegetables. We added corn here. You can also add peas or anything else you have. You can be creative with it. Okay, so we've made our 3 different types of ramen, and like I said, you can do anything you want with them, mix it up, show us what you made. So if you make it, go ahead and let us know. We'd love to see it. We miss all of you, and we can't wait to see you again soon. We are still doing all of our virtual club activities, so if you go on our Facebook page for Boys and Girls Club of Grand Rapids, we have the schedule listed. We will be doing cooking videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so stay tuned.